I knew you wouldn't run.
Well,
you're gonna see me all weekend.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I knew you weren't going anywhere. Dave Mander on the lead guitar. Right? So the little thing with that, by the way, is anytime anyone in the band makes a mistake, it doesn't matter who, I will get on the out front microphone and say, Dave Mander on the lead guitar. And that's how the whole band knows we made a mistake. Even if it's something blatantly obvious like mine, I'm still going to say Dave Mander on the lead guitar.
Yeah, well, the way that started, though, was, I mean, I joined the band, like, it's been over a year now, but when I joined the band, I showed up for the audition. The audition process was crazy, by the way. You see this setup behind us. They told me, you know, get there at 7 o'clock, they gave me 5 songs to learn. I came in at 10 minutes to 7, and the entire band is standing on the stage, and there's like 10 people in the room just staring. And I'm like, well, this isn't intimidating at all. Sure, I'll play. So anyway, after, long story short, I did that, and then Dave calls me, he says, okay, hey, if you want the gig, and I said, yep. And then he sent me a list. Here's 80 songs we do. I'm like, oh, crap. So I had to learn 80 songs in like a matter of like less than a month.
It wasn't long.
No.
You were on stage with us like at the Pop Amphitheater. I think was your first gig with us, right?
Yeah, it was like weeks after I joined. And so, like, obviously at the beginning, there were a bunch of, like, whoops kind of moments for me. And so you would be like, Dave Mander on lead guitar. And then it just turned into every whoops, whether it be me or anyone else in the band. That's what it is now. So, yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is. See,
exactly.
So you have your own thing. Well, you guys probably don't know this. So Dave, besides being classically trained and, like, a top-notch musician, he plays acoustic. My joke is you play acoustic like you're homeless. Every day.
I do.
Every day. Yeah. How many gigs this last weekend?
I had 6 gigs just this past weekend.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We played.
One with the band and then a whole bunch of other ones.
You came from a gig to the block party.
I did, yeah.
Which is crazy. And of course, as an acoustic player, you make more money playing acoustic than you do playing in the band.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't have to split your tips or your, money with 5 other people.
Sure.
And it's not like, I mean, some of the venues, they just can't afford to pay, thousands of dollars for a local band, but they still support local music, which I think is awesome.
Well, and acoustic is just better for some venues anyway.
Yeah, there's so many live music venues in Central Florida. We are kind of lucky to have a lot of places that do support local music. And then the fan base is incredible too. They
really do kind of just circle around and check it all out.
Yeah.
And we are lucky that Torn was talking about that.
Right.
We went and saw them last week after our show. We went to the Alley. They are.
Oh, wow.
They're amazing.
Yeah. You know what's so cool about those guys is not only do they sound like amazing, but those guys bands like Jet that they dress up as the rock. These guys just are the rock stars. They don't even have to dress up. It's just like they look so cool.
Did you see the band crawl where I interviewed them?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how they dress.
That's what I'm saying.
Like that's their thing.
They're just cool.
They are awesome, and it was a wall of sound, but it wasn't like
wasn't
overpowering, blowing your head off. And we sat in the front, and everybody in the band sang.
Right.
So I'll tell you something funny that you kind of know. So this is the Torn shirt that they gave me on the show last time, and they know I'm going to talk about this. But they gave it to me, and I'm like, oh, this is the first one, and which was super nice of them to do. And they're like, this is for you. And I held it up and almost dropped dead from the fumes that came out of that shirt. So I guess they were driving here. They went to their guy. They got the shirt because they wanted to have it to show off on the show. And Pete drives the truck, and so he had a coffee, and he poured out what he wasn't drinking. He just out of habit threw the cup in the back where the white shirt was.
Right.
So they get all the way up here and realize this thing is covered in coffee stains and whatever. So they found like all these ways to try and clean it. They used, Lysol and Windex and a P.S. By the time I got this, it had like 19 chemicals on it. So when I held it up, thank God I held it up like this. Because you would have seen that I was like, whoa.
I know you said your wife came in and was like, what is that smell in the band room?
It was
that shirt.
It was the shirt.
Yeah.
But by the way, the shirts are awesome. The band is awesome. And get this, we'll cover it on the Bike Week show. They are with Rocket Fly at Full Moon.
Oh, wow.
And those two bands together is ridiculous because they're different, but they're the same. Like they play a lot of the same stuff, but they're a very different vibe. Rocket Fly is hair metal and fun and everything you would expect if you went to see like Poison or Motley Crue or whatever in the 80s. Right? Like that's kind of their vibe, and there's nobody better than them. The Torn is more of the like if you went to see a concert and it was just in your face, full powered,
like
rock and roll.
Metallica,
Yeah,
Five
like,
Finger Death Punch.
it was, but they played.
Yeah.
They did that Van Halen song.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean,
Zeppelin.
They did Motley Crue. Anyway, if you like that kind of music, that is a place to be.
Those guys could be a Motley Crue tribute band.
In a heartbeat. With Tony on vocals,
yeah.
the bass player sang
Amazing.
Motley Crue song was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, you guys should learn Looks at Kill.
Yeah.
You'd crush that song, which they said they were kind of thinking about, so we'll
Yeah.
see. So we'll see. But what I was saying before I went in and promoted the other band, out of habit, right? Because I love those guys.
Yeah.
So you make more money playing acoustic,
Right.
but yet you have canceled gigs acoustically to play with the band. What makes the band or a band something you want to do over
Maybe we
the higher
shouldn't say
paying
that,
acoustic?
because there might be an owner out there going, "Oh, is that why you canceled?
is that
You said
why
you
you
were
left?"
sick."
Well, he probably has you
No,
booked
I'm
for
kidding.
87 other gigs.
I got subs to do my gigs.
I'm sure you
but
did.
yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun playing with a band. You know, the camaraderie, the fact that we can joke around with each other and no one gets upset. You know, this is like the best fun band that I've ever played with, because everybody's super talented, but they're all just like a lot of fun. Nobody has an ego. Nobody has too much of a chip on their shoulder, and we can tease each other.
I think it's because we all make the same amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
I think we rotate them around. Although Josue in our band, if you ever want to know if Josue made a mistake, just look over, and if he's not looking at me, then he made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? Because if he makes a mistake, I'm not supposed to know.
Right.
Right? If you make a mistake, I'm like Dave Mander on the lead guitar. If I make a mistake, Josue will point at me and die laughing. But if Josue makes a mistake, he stares straight ahead.
But I always turn
not
around
gonna
and I'll catch his eye, and then he starts laughing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100. So tell me, how long have you been playing?
Oh my God! So I've been playing since I was 14 years old.
You're 18 now.
Exactly.
So you got 3 years. Yeah.
Then I went to UCF. I got my degree in classical guitar performance, and I played in bands like years ago. That's all I did was play in bands, and then I got out of it and played acoustic solo, just because it was easier to not deal with any personalities or anything.
Sure.
I show up like 20 minutes before I'm supposed to start, set up my stuff, and I'm good. And then I'm out of there, 10 minutes after I'm finished. So it's easy, but I started doing that. And then when I thought about getting back into bands, it's weird. I hadn't picked up like electric guitar to play like solos and all that stuff in a lot of years. And then I'm feeling much more comfortable, and it's coming back to me. But that switch, because playing acoustic rhythm and doing the stuff that I do is way different, than playing in a band. But I've been playing for a million years.
Now, and the thing I've also noticed, and a couple of other people can do this too, Rafa and Rachel, etc. You sing all the time.
Yeah.
Like we said, 6 gigs this weekend. You play during the week. You work during the day, and you're a realtor, so you're talking, right?
Sure.
So how is it that you're able to keep your voice from going out? Like we've had other friends who are very talented musicians.
Yeah.
Who you can't sing that many days, right?
Sure.
I mean, we rehearse on Wednesday to give the band a rest on Thursday so that everybody's full power on Friday, and that doesn't impact you at all.
No,
at least
never.
It doesn't seem to.
So 2 things. The one thing, I was a vocal minor in college, and one of the things that I learned from my vocal coach was that stay hydrated. I drink a ton of water the day that I'm of my shows, and during my shows, drink a ton of water. The second thing is, don't push yourself to do the song in the original key just because. That's the original key. We have to do that. I tune down a half step acoustically, and then in addition to that, I don't do like almost anything in the original key. I do the songs where they fit my range, and when they fit your range and you're hitting the high notes that are high for me, it sounds with the same energy as the way the original recording was. And without that reference, unless you have perfect pitch, people don't know the difference. They just go, wow, that sounds great. So for me, I keep the songs in my range, and I stay hydrated. Tons of water.
Now, and I don't think, again, I'm behind the drums. I don't think you really drink at the shows either.
No, I drink a lot of water.
Does drinking alcohol, I'm just curious, does drinking alcohol negate the hydration thing? Because I know there's something with that, right?
No, I'm not really sure. All I know for me personally, drinking alcohol negates my ability to remember lyrics.
A totally different issue.
And guitar solos and stuff, yeah.
Nice. Now, do you have you play, how many songs do you have on your list? Like, forgetting ours, you have a massive list of tunes.
Yeah, I got about 500 songs.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you, for the most part, you don't seem to look them up either. Like, you'll have keys here or there or whatever, but it seems like You don't even have to look them up.
No, what I have is I usually have I have an iPad, and it's a reference for lyrics. Mm-hmm. Because that's, you get into a song, and then the start of the second verse comes, and I'm sitting there thinking, what's that first line? I need the first line. And then I look down, and if I have the first line, then I can sing the rest of it. Yeah.
Now, do you have, in your acoustic set with all those songs, is there anything you just really love to play that you're like, these 5 songs, these 2 songs, I really like?
I really like John Mayer music, just about anything by him. And then I like doing songs that, like, people may have heard before, but the way that I do them would be way different. And so, like, when someone, like, I do Rocket Man in a totally different vibe, I'll take, Phil Collins and just change the way he does stuff that you wouldn't think someone does that acoustically with just an acoustic guitar. And I'll do it. So I like doing that.
I got you.
I like that. Yeah. What's that?
More than any specific song.
You're right. Correct. Yeah. Just arrangements of songs.
Do you have a favorite song with the band?
Believe it or not, I think one of my favorite songs with the band is My Prerogative. And I don't know, I mean, there's nothing amazing. It's not got amazing vocals. There's just a groove to that song, and I don't even play anything exciting on guitar. Matter of fact, I think if you listen to the recording, there's
I don't think there is a guitar.
There is no guitar.
Yeah.
So like half the songs we do, I remember Gene, who was the guitar player before me, I went and saw you guys, and I said, so where do you get some of these parts from? Because you just got to make them up. And I'm like, okay, cool. So that's what I do. It's cool because it's like inventing the parts or arranging, the music again. Same thing I do acoustically, but now I get to do it here. When we do other songs like Guns N' Roses or Journey, there's very specific things. And I remember like you can't just like play that almost because people go, that's not right.
They catch it.
Yeah, they're like,
they catch it.
You can't be almost in those songs.
And we've got like, I don't know, probably 30% of our stuff is non-dance.
Right.
It's rock of some kind. But for the most part, we're a dance band.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's totally different from what you've been playing, right?
Yeah.
Both acoustically and even in the bands you were in, like it was more the typical rock and roll, maybe some top 40.
Right.
And by the way, you tell me, but love it, hate it, like doing the dance thing, hate the dance thing.
I love the dance thing. I mean, years ago, I used to go to the Why Not Lounge in Altamont.
Yep, and I've heard of it.
Top 40 bands used to play there all the time. And I used to love going there and just watching the top 40 bands. I loved Ghostbusters when they did that, and just the sound. It was just really cool watching like a band that had keyboard and drums, and the keyboard wasn't just strings in the background or something. It was actually part of the song, and I always loved the top 40 stuff. But obviously playing Van Halen and that sort of stuff is way more fun for a guitar player, but. Now that I've done all of that stuff, I like the groove. I like the dance. I like watching people's reaction and filling up a dance floor to people dancing. It's a lot of fun.
When we started Midnight Mayhem, that was kind of how that happened. When you look at the music scene, like you said, there's a ton of musicians, there's a ton of bands, and they're really talented.
Yeah.
So you look at classic rock, and you're like, okay, Skin Deep is out there.
Oh, yeah.
My Generation is out there.
Right.
There's like 20 bands that crush classic rock. They're amazing at it.
Right.
So we weren't going to break into that, right? And then you look at hair metal, and you say, well, you've got Jet in whatever incarnation he's doing. Trans Ams, Jet County Dragsters, American Hot Rods, whatever you got.
Yeah.
You have Rocket Fly.
Yep.
Right?
Papa Wheelie.
You have Strut. You have Papa Wheelie. Like, you have all...
Yeah.
You weren't going to break into that either. Like, if you call a club owner and you say, I would like to come and play at your venue, and we play this, and they know that one of those big bands plays that, A, they don't want to duplicate the music. They want to rotate it.
Sure.
And B, I'm not going to bring you the crowd Skin Deep brings you, or Rocket Fly brings you, or whatever. So we kind of looked at it and went, well, nobody's doing dance. Because at the time, nobody really was. I had played in a band, actually with Rusty Wilmot for about an hour, called One Wild Night. And Chris, our singer, was really ahead of the curve. We were actually in a metal band.
Yeah.
And Chris was like, no, I want to go do dance. And we were like, no. And so, but we formed up a slightly different group and we did dance music. And Chris actually kept that going for a long time. And at the time, it was like, what are you guys doing? But looking back on that, he was just ahead of the curve on it because truthfully, that, like, when we took into that space, we were the only one.
Yeah.
We got the gigs. And now there's a bunch of good dance bands out there, too.
Right.
You know, Groove Infusion is really good.
Right.
I know I'm going to blank on some. I mean, even More Than Venus plays a lot of dance stuff now. You're even seeing some of the heavier bands go into dance, but we were kind of in your boat too. It wasn't that we wanted to play dance music, although I love watching a floor fill up.
Yeah,
It was like, well, what are we going to play that's going to separate us from the pack enough that we can get gigs? You know, with all these things going on.
And different kinds of gigs too.
Yeah, we play a lot of it. I mean, you know already, right? So it's a lot
Right.
of corporate, but a lot of the, like, we couldn't play some of the gigs we play if we were just another rock and roll band, or as much as I hate doing it, if we weren't on electronic drums a lot.
Yeah.
Because of the volume thing, we hear that more and more too. I don't know
So
if the other bands are getting it.
I know you play a lot of electronic drums, but you also have, like, if you look behind us, we have all these amazing kits here.
Yes.
Right? Now this is the kit that you play on, the Batman kit in the middle.
Yes.
Is a kit that we use during practice.
Yeah.
But I guess that never really leaves the room, right?
For like a year or two, I took the 5-piece version of that with me where I went.
Wow.
And then I was thinking about it, and that kit was made for a Pearl endorsed artist, and it's a custom finish. You can't really see it in the pictures, but it's a metallic flake yellow. It's actually really cool. I'm just in a dimly lit room, and I was bringing it out, and then I was like, you know, that's a really expensive kit. Why should I do that? Like, why keep bringing it out? So I brought it in here, and the only reason it's set up with all that stuff on it is I don't have to move it. So why not? You know what I
Sure.
mean? There's actually a couple drums for it up on the shelf up there that aren't
yeah, I
even,
see that.
that
Right,
aren't
right,
even
right.
on the kit. You know,
Right.
but this is my rehearsal kit, and it's rigged to record. Pearl with Dow's drum pads, some custom octavons. It came with the gong. I actually bought this rack on eBay, and when I went to Boca Raton to pick it up, it was owned by Nico McBrain, and it was originally owned by Nick Menza from Megadeth.
Wow.
It was made by a guy called Greg Volker. He made like one for Winger, had one, and like there were like 25 or 30 of them, and then they stopped. They were too much money. And so it's a really cool rack, and I bought it because it's on wheels. And then, you know, if I needed to, I could roll it out of the way. Although I've never had to do it, thank God.
Yeah.
But you could. And this one,
This is amazing, right?
It's my favorite.
Because you
This is
can't,
my favorite.
I gotta get out of the way for a minute, because you can't freaking believe what's back here. So this drum, it just looks like, oh, this is cute. This is a Motley Crue kit, but it's actually Tommy Lee.
It's the Motley Crue kit, correct?
Yeah, played on that for their tour.
That was the girls' tour. So I run a group online called My Drum Set. It's got about 30 some odd thousand drummers in it, and I got hit up by somebody who said, "Hey, I have the Tommy Lee girls kit. Do you want it?" And I was, of course, I'm a huge Motley Crue fan, and I was like, "Yes, I do." And he only sold me the shells, by the way. I had to go like all around the globe, thank God for the internet, and get like the pads that would have been on the kit, and like all the symbols that would have been on the kit. Like all that stuff is period correct to it. But what they sold me was the drums. And so because I have that group, this guy Rob is he's the custom drum builder for Pearl from like 83 to 94. I called him and said, how do I authenticate that? And he said, take off a bass drum leg and tell me what's underneath. And so I took one off. I said, well, it's these weird black screws and this and that. He's like, that's original. We did that. And
Wow.
so he authenticated it for me. And then I got lucky, and a guy in the group, Steve Morrison, is actually Tommy Lee's drum tech currently. Like, he's about to do the stadium tour with them.
Yeah.
He goes by Steve-O. And I called him, and I'm like, can you show this to Tommy Lee? They were recording The Dirt at the time. And I said, can you just show this to him? And like, let me know, you know, the thought or whatever. So he showed it to him, sent me over some pictures. Tommy Lee was like, oh yeah, you know, you have the girls kit. Sent me like a video. I was like, you have the girls kit, it's fucking rad, blah, blah. And on the other side of the room is a giant frame piece. It's not in my camera. Roy like signed a drum head or whatever. And then about 2 years ago, I guess when The Dirt came out, I bought the replica of this kit that was used in The Dirt.
Oh, wow.
Somebody hit me up and said, you have the original. Do you want the replica? And the replica's pristine because it's brand new. And so that's in my office in the house.
Oh, very cool.
Yep.
Now over here in this corner,
Oh, yeah.
and this corner, now in this corner.
That's the last one that's out there. So I bought that. There's a guy named Don Bennett who runs he basically sells celebrity-owned kits. He's known for it. Hanging on the wall above that kit is an article in Modern Drummer about that kit where they went to Don Bennett's place, whatever. That is Tico Torres' kit from Bon Jovi from Runaway, 7800 Fahrenheit, and Slippery When Wet. And the two bands that got me into playing music when I played were Motley Crue and Bon Jovi. And I mean, I was at the video in Seaside Heights. We went to the beach when they recorded that show, which we didn't know was a music video, but we went to see them play.
Yeah.
So when that came up, I had to grab it. It came with some tour jackets and whatever. And this is why the band has no space, because we have this giant stage in here, with a full PA and everything rehearsed, and the band gets like, I don't know, 6 feet in front of the drum kits to play, and I added a jut out for Dana and Ryan when we built it because my bass drums stick out on the drum rack.
That's hilarious. Do you ever play these drums?
Yes. I play the Motley Crue kit all the time. I teach lessons for free. If you've seen me drum, you know that I shouldn't make anybody pay for that.
He's kidding.
So I teach them for free to a couple of kids, and so I'll let them, like, which kit do you want to play on? And they all pick the yellow one because it's huge.
Right, of course.
They all want the yellow one.
Why not? Why
and I'm short, so they
yeah.
can all sit down and play any of them.
Yeah.
And then I will play on the Tommy Lee kit and do it.
Okay, so you teach your lessons from here.
I'll teach it from there and sometimes from there, but basically, if I'm practicing on my own, I'm probably playing the Tommy Lee kit.
Very cool.
Which I'm too short for, by the way.
Hey, how long has Midnight Mayhem? I've been with the band for over a year.
I can't believe it's over a year.
I know, it's crazy, right?
It's been a while.
So how long has Midnight Mayhem been around?
I think we're in year 8.
Year 8?
I think we're in year 8. We might even be in year 9. I was looking at that the other day. But we're either 7 or 8 years back now. And
Wow.
it's gone through, Ryan's original. And Ryan, he was our sound guy.
Right.
Like, that's it. And we recorded a demo years ago at Shots.
Did you always have a keyboard player?
Yes,
Same type
from
of
the
lineup?
very beginning.
Okay, yeah.
And Ryan got up and sang at the demo video, and we were like, oh yeah, that's the end of that. Like, you need to get up here and sing. And now Ryan does half our stuff, but he's original. Right. Ryan's original. I'm original, and that's it. Lindsay sang with us, and after that, Julie from Black Sheep.
Right.
And then we've had Dana now for I think 4-something years. On keyboards, we had Stevie forever. He is fantastic. Can play anything you want. He does dueling piano.
Right. Yeah.
He just didn't like playing boring dance music. You know what I mean? He can play all this ridiculous stuff. So we replaced him with. We went through a period of like keyboard players for 8 weeks, and then I would, in many cases, I would be like, that's enough of that. Yeah, goodbye. And so Carol's now been with us, I think it's 2 years.
Right.
It's not, I don't think it's only a year, but Carol's been with us a while. She's amazing. Obviously you've been here over a year. Josue was always our fill-in bass player for Dave Storm. Dave Storm would be, he's head of audio video for the Magic. So every now and then, they were like, you're not playing, you're here. And Josue was always our fill-in. And when COVID hit, they quarantined the Magic and all their staff. Yeah. And he was like, that's it, I gotta be done. And so Josue came in permanently with us, and he's awesome. And then Gene did the same thing. When COVID hit, he thought he was gonna move to New York. And he's like, hey, I'm not gonna be around. And then that's when we were lucky enough to get you. But we haven't had a member change up in about 2 years. And realistically, the only position that changed in like the last 4 to 5 years was guitar. A lot of guitarists do this, and they're like, I just don't like playing the dance music. I want to go play rock and roll.
And you've had some amazing guitar players.
Oh, we had Sterling, who's now with Rocket Fly Tribute Con. We had Scotty Romans, who was a Control Freak, and then Strut, and he still does an acoustic with LJ. We had Dan Rods, who's ridiculous. You can play anything you want to play, like the band's a machine. We haven't had any bad musicians in the slot.
Right.
Gene too. I mean, like everybody. It's cool though because everybody added something different that made the band go to whatever the next step was going to be.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also funny because different musicians can play different styles. And like I've had lineups that if I said let's rock this up, you were just getting the Dave Matthews Band version when it came out the other side. And I've had guitar players that if you said rock this up, I'd have to be like, not Megadeth. We got to go here. So it's cool. The band's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The band's a lot of fun. Hopefully you think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you have any? You must have a crazy story.
I have these.
Make everyone else tell crazy stories. I think people want to hear one from you.
I have long lists of crazy stories. I'm trying to think. Oh, here you go. This isn't a mayhem story, but you'll. So I was in Psycho Magnets for about 2 years with Bill Hamilton, another amazing musician. And we get told we're playing the Rat's Hole in Leesburg for Bike Fest. Don't bring your kit. You're not allowed to bring your kit. You can't do it. They have a house kit. It's fantastic. You'll be good. All right, great. So we show up to this thing. There's this beautiful chrome pearl double bass kit set up. 2 bass drums, 4 rack toms, 2 floor. I mean, it's amazing. And I am stoked, right? I've got my cymbals. That isn't their kit. That was the band Species, and they were a big enough name, I guess, that they let them set up their kit. I was not. So he's like, oh, no, you can't play that. In the corner is this beat to hell 4-piece drum set. I mean, just destroyed. and there's no cymbal stands. None. And I've brought nothing. I have cymbals, but I don't have anything else because they said don't bring anything else. So I was like, well, I guess I'll even play, right? So jokingly, when we got up to set up, I said something to the crowd about like, I'm gonna need some bikini tops or fabric or whatever, and girls did. And so I took mic stands like these boom mics. I tied the bikini tops to the end, tied them through my cymbals on the bottom in a knot, and those were my cymbal stands.
Wow.
And anytime I hit the cymbal, it would swing the stand all the way around, and Bill was in front and was like, come on, why don't you? But you would hit it and it would swing around.
Oh my God.
And the only other good one I think I have that isn't that it also isn't Mayhem. I showed up to another gig like that. I played. I don't even remember the name of the venue anymore. It was in Daytona. It was outside, and it was a day of bands. And I was sitting in with One Eye Kiss, which was Raleigh Estes, and it was Greg Fratto on vocals, and I don't remember who played bass. And they said, no, don't bring your kit, house kit. And I called and confirmed. And no. And I got there, and the other band starts packing their drum set out. And I'm like, I didn't even bring a drum set. I brought nothing. And so I called my wife, and I said, I'm going home. You know, there's no drum kit. And she said, that's ridiculous. You play cajon. And I'm like, you know what? So I took this 32-gallon Rubbermaid, and I flipped it upside down, and I made the sound guy put a little microphone underneath it, and I played it as a cajon.
Oh, wow.
And what happened is during the course of that set, people were like, dude, add this beer bucket. Dude, here's the thing. So by the time I got done, I had like 60 things around. And
you're like a homeless guy with it.
We made a ton of tips that day.
That's funny.
But anyway, that's all the time I try and keep these to a half hour.
Yeah,
so I
good.
don't drive anybody crazy. I'm thrilled you were able to do it.
Yeah,
man.
man.
I mean, between
Glad
the
to
real
be here.
estate and the acoustic, I'm thrilled you were able to do it. I'll be back, and you'll see another video posted for Bike Week. So that's why there's 3 this time. And I'm going to record that in just a little bit. Go out this weekend, support. Bike Week's going to be amazing. We're at Traders. Dave Mander on the lead guitar.
Check us out, Midnight Mayhem on social media. You can find us on Instagram. Also, David Mander Music on social media. Facebook. I got a Facebook music page. Our band has a Facebook page. You know, support the bands on social media. That it really counts. The more likes and followers bands have, it helps when they go to venues to try to book.
You know, it also, I never talk about that, but it also helps because some of these bars do not post their bands.
Right.
Every week, I've got to be like, who's playing?
And we post,
we post all the time.
So we support all the places we
play
at.
If you follow a band and you like them, that's probably the best way to figure out where they're going to be. You can always watch the show, but we only cover so many bands and venues, so that's a great point.
Yep.
And we are XII Mayhem, Roman numeral 12 for midnight, on everything. So check us out, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you real soon.
Cool.